Nice.
So, this year,
let's talk about this.
We had the honor of hosting these two guys at our Thanksgiving dinner at Alejandro's wife's parents' house, correct?
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's in Hialeah. It's a little Cuban town north of Miami, or it's in Miami. And we asked her family, I mean, we obviously, if you guys were in town during a holiday like that, we wanted to have you guys over and introduce you to the family and bring you into something like as if we would go over there, some kind of tradition that you guys normally do, you know?
No, it was amazing.
Yeah, thank you for hosting, because to join to this party, it was a big honor and very interesting. And your brother is crazy guy.
Oh, Charlie.
Yes, Charlie.
Charlie.
He's very funny.
That was quite the scene to have them hanging out with our friend Charlie.
Yeah, so some of these guys had some drinks. There was obviously plenty of food to go around. Liz's family is Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican and Dominican.
Yeah. So there was a big mix of food. Our family's Cuban. They brought some food. You know, a lot of food to go around. And then at the end, we summed it up by learning a new word, right, guys?
What's up? Pisca! Right?
Right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pisca.
If you don't know, pisca.
Pisca.
Which means wiener. Wiener.
It's something soft.
So when
and pretty. And sometimes sweet.
Well, it's good to know. Like, that's a word you always want to know. You want to learn. You normally learn the bad words first in a language.
Of course.
Always.
That's probably what you learned in English. Did you learn wiener? Was that one of the things? Probably not, right?
Snatch and power.
Okay. Well, those are bad words, right?
So, yeah, that was my Ukrainian Thanksgiving experience. Screaming wiener at the top of our lungs in Liz's parents' living room.
They really liked having you guys over. I told them before you guys were coming, like, oh, so Charlie's coming, like, oh, great. And 2 Olympians are coming to join us, and we were really excited to have them over. What do you? They couldn't wrap their head around who was visiting, so I showed them. I typed your name in, and it came up. You know, you could Google the people who were coming, and they were like, "No way!" They were really excited. They may have not shown it, but they were very excited to have you guys over. So were we.
Thanks for hosting.
Cool.
Yeah.
So during Thanksgiving dinner, we also learned some new things. Before weightlifting, you participated in some other sports, right?
Yeah.
Sports, air quotes.
You think it's important?
Yeah, I think it's very important.
For sure.
Yeah. Before weightlifting, I did dancing, classic dancing.
Yeah.
So I did this maybe 1 or 1.5 year. It was funny, but in my country, in my so in my small village, it was not a lot of chance to do something another. It was soccer, it was weightlifting, some a little bit bodybuilding, and classic dance. So.
How did you go from classic dancing to being an Olympic champion? It's like a very
a lot of girls.
Naturally, he's a dancer.
Natural. A lot of girls. Yeah.
That's interesting. So you found the barbell, you said, at 14?
Yeah. Yeah. I was 14. It was regular school class, and I come to the gym just because
For a general physical preparation.
general fitness preparation. Yes, and my coach, first coach, proposed me to be a weightlifter. For this, I say no, never.
Never.
Yeah, and he proposed it to my friend, and he said yes.
And your friend did it, so naturally it's something you wanted to do also.
Yeah, and of course it was a battle. And after 3 months, I said, of course, I want to try. And since 2001, 2000, I still am weightlifting.
So that's when you started. It was in 2001?
2000.
2000,
Yeah.
2001.
2000.
And what about you, Sergei? How did you find weightlifting?
It was very
Before
similar.
Jurassic Park.
it was quite the same history because I did before
You're a
weightlifting.
musician, right?
But before weightlifting, I did tennis.
Oh,
I played
right,
tennis, and for me it was a problem because I lived in the not very safe area, and for me it was like I'm an athlete because I'm doing tennis. But for me to defend myself, it was a problem. And for me, the most biggest thing that I was afraid is to lose the racket because it was expensive. And that is why I asked my father, is it possible to go somewhere to gym? And it was weightlifting gym. So there was coach, same as Aleksey told them. He said, you must do weightlifting. I said, never. And I didn't want to go for weightlifting because I thought that all weightlifters are short.
Right.
And in my class was a girl, she was tall, and I like her very much. And it was my only dream to be same height as she, to have a possibility to stand nearby. So I said, no weightlifting, never. And then my coach said, okay, with PVC, just know how to lift heavy object. Then with technical bar, then with female bar, then with male bar. Then I remember the day when he told me like, and now you're gonna go and do power snatch 40 kilos. And I like,
Boom.
and then he said, okay, in 2 weeks we have a competition. Everybody participate. And you? I said, okay. And then...
And that's when it
Yeah,
started.
now it's a little bit different time because when we were young, weightlifting was not very popular.
In our country, yes.
Yeah, and a lot of people think, especially for my parents, think it's not good for health. So you will be small,
Short.
Yeah, short. So it was not very good opinion about weightlifting. Now it's time for you to grow up because a lot of people who do CrossFit, who do weightlifting, it's mostly people who 25 or more. And that's why I think in 5-10 years, when these people will have a child, kids, so it will be possible to, so it will be not something strange to give kids to weightlifting class.
Right.
So that's why I think soon it will be, weightlifting will grow up more and more.
Yeah, we believe that that's what we see now in all over the world in CrossFit and in weightlifting, it's investment for the future.
For
That
sure.
the sports will grow very.
It's changing a lot. And yeah, I think you're right. When some of these CrossFitters or weightlifters in their 20s, 30s, and 40s are having kids, now you're going to see children develop as youth and juniors in the sport of weightlifting and maybe have not experienced any other sports before that.
And one more interesting, after Olympic Games, when I worked at a national federation, I did как этот опрос.
So, when you ask people on the street opinion, how it's called?
Survey?
Service, yeah.
So, goal was to understand what
So they
people,
did service on the street.
what
Yeah,
people
yeah.
think about weightlifting. And people think weightlifting is bench press,
Yes.
squat, or something to lift when you lift the car.
Yeah.
This is weightlifting.
Strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a survey in your country?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now, of course, it's a little bit to change, but
I think that would be the same here.
Yeah, people here mostly think it's like strongman stuff,
yeah,
pulling
or
cars,
bodybuilding, yes, it's
you pull a fire truck with your Pisca, things like that. Like, that's what people think. Oh, weightlifting, crazy guy. But then you explain to them,
But it's a good idea.
yeah.
yeah. I mean, obviously
longer,
it makes
yeah.
you stronger and longer. So
I mean, if you look at any, like, not weightlifting, but weight style lifting activity that's on TV in the United States, it would be World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And I guess some bodybuilding.
That's
companies.
just what people know. If you say weightlifting, people go, how much do you bench?
Yeah, that's like
That's-
the common answer that
But
you
I
get.
think your country know about weightlifting a little bit more because a lot of football use a
Power
lot of
playing.
exercise for
Yeah.
weightlifting. So that's why it's a little bit different with Ukraine because in my country we don't have American football.
But it's growing.
That's what I
And
thought about it.
I think it's my opinion, and I think opinion of Sergei. So in 5 years, weightlifting in US will be very strong.
Yeah.
Because now a lot of what happened now in the US? A lot of seminars, a lot of people from different countries, so from
Share
China,
experience.
from Bulgaria, from Russia, from Ukraine, it doesn't matter. And a lot of people share this experience. And who take this experience? people not from national team, people, basic people who work, who have
Trying
a
to
job.
coach.
Yeah, and in 1, 2, 5 years it will be good experience for it will be good for fundament.
Yeah, base.
Fundament
Yeah,
base
from the
for
base. Well, there's more kids now too getting into it.
yeah.
I will tell you about this. The problem of Ukrainian coaches, there are a lot of good coaches, but as far as weightlifting is very traditional and very niche sport, problem of Ukrainian coaches and Soviet coaches, they don't want to learn. So
Yeah.
they have certain good level, but everything is developing. And the difference between here and Ukraine, that for example when we came back
Close.
and we have seminar of Ukrainian coaches, they like shame to hear us, like they shame to ask. And here coaches they're hungry,
Yeah.
like give. So that's the difference.
Yeah, they want to
Yeah.
learn.
Yeah.
So going back to the Ukraine now, for you guys, after you've put so much time into developing your brand, you know, Warm Body, Cold Mind, and your seminars and all your training programs, and you go around teaching all over the world, Brazil, Mexico, United States, et cetera, how does the Ukrainian Federation and the system there and the coaches feel about you guys now? You don't know? Who knows?
I think my
Aleksey
opinion.
will tell, yes.
2 years ago, when we just started to do this, of course it was something. What you do? Why you do this? For what? So it was странно.
It was strange for them because they don't understand where is the money.
Yeah.
And it was difficult to understand. But now I think they understand. It's only one way to develop something. So
Yeah.
if you want to develop a sport, you need to work not with a professional athlete. You need to work with the people,
Yeah, of course.
with the small, with the parents, with the small kids. So you need to develop
Community.
community. So it's just one way to develop sport, to develop result. It's not possible to train just 20 people and to believe to success. It will be successful. No, you need a lot of people. You need a big army, and it will be the same with the pyramid.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
because you asked the question about the federation activity. Actually, federation, in my opinion, should run two main goals: national team and developing of the sport in the whole country.
Of course.
And this is two big roads because national team it like 20 boys and 20 girls, like 40 people. Okay, all team, junior kids, everything. But we have in our country 35 million people, and if it will be 5% of them who will know very good what is weightlifting will grow.
Of course.
But you need develop like TV programming, school, seminars, open trainings for people. Like in China, they put a
Right.
stage and give for everybody 1,000 PVC, and they just do something, overhead squats. That's
Yeah.
the way to involve.
That's definitely something I feel like USA Weightlifting does very well. USA Weightlifting,
Yeah.
I feel, gets a lot of criticism for people for many things, but I think that with the new, I guess, regime, so to speak, of USA Weightlifting with Phil Andrews and Ursula and everyone, I feel like they are doing a really good job at developing the sport and bringing it to the everyday person. I mean, before the last Olympics, Morgan King, Matty Rogers were on NBC in the morning
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's
Think about how many people compete now.
yeah,
Like, people will complain, especially Americans,
yeah,
and people that have enough time to be in the gym all day and they're going to complain about everything.
for sure.
But we have meets now in the U.S. with 1,000 people competing.
Yeah.
Last year, American Open, we
Yeah.
visited. We
In
met.
Orlando, right, we hung out there.
Come on.
Yeah,
For them,
4
1,000
platforms.
is a lot because in my country, in our country, one competition is around 300 people.
and is that your nationals?
Yeah, it's nationals. So we have, of course, less population, but it's 300 people. Level is still bigger than yours
Yes, of
in
course.
kilos, but quantity of people less. But if we speak about the development, we need just the people who do 50 kilo snatch and 65 clean and jerk. It will be fine.
Yeah.
But your idea, I think, is right. Like, if you build the base, the pool or army of lifters, there's like a quality that comes with just having a
Yeah.
quantity.
Step by step.
Yeah.
You have a bunch
It's
of people,
all
eventually you're gonna have
philosophy,
some
yes.
good ones. Yeah, so that, yeah, I totally agree. Like that's, and it's, I'm glad to see the U.S. going in that direction too.
Now, of course, if you have a statistic from 10 people, you will have one champion.
Right.
So if you have 1,000, you have a lot of chance to have 10 or 100 champions. So if you have just 50 people, so it's
Especially after years and years and years of development as well. You know, I think you're seeing that with the U.S. is there's people like CJ, there's people like Harrison, there's people like Maddie that are breaking their own records every.
it must be
Yeah.
because stars, it's stars.
Yeah.
All sport must have stars and heroes in here. Yeah.
Speaking of stars, let's talk about the 2012 Olympics. That's, you get it? I'm like, how was training for that? Did you guys go into your team, your national team, and your coach? Did you guys look at like 2008 to 2012 as one big macro cycle? You guys start thinking about 2012 4 years before it, or just
Yeah.
something that
After Olympic Games, after first my Olympic Games, it was in Beijing. So I went to be a manager, and I saw
A manager.
yeah.
What do you mean? Hold on.
So
Go into.
He
I
quit
saw it.
after Beijing.
Oh, you
He quit.
quit.
Yeah,
He quit.
and I work in a company, and the goal of this company was to sell the gear.
Oh, shit, good for you.
Because in my country for weightlifting, it's not the best
Salary.
salary. So it's
Yeah, same thing here.
Come on, it's possible in US. It's
It is,
possible
it
to
is.
have a sponsor, so
Yeah.
something like this.
Now it is.
Now it is, yeah.
Yeah.
But in my country, it was a little bit different. So that's why
I quit.
I quit, and I started to work in other
Field.
Well, I didn't know that.
outside of sport.
So you were selling beer after 2008.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
What
and
kind of beer?
It's a good question.
And everything was good until then one guy not proposed me to be again weightlifter. He said, "I will give you money."
Oh wow.
So yeah, I will give you $500 per month. So you need to lift. Okay. And it was just 1 month, and after was big crisis, 2008, 2009.
Economical
Yeah.
crisis.
Economic
Oh,
crisis.
right.
So it was just one salary, 500. But I started, and I came to stop. So and after this, it was my first competition. It was European Championship, and I was second in total, and was first in clean and jerk. I win Olympic champion Medalist
Okay.
in the clean and jerk. So and after this competition, I started to understand I can. So it was for me.
What year was that?
It was 2009. It was Bucharest European Championship.
So it was 1 year off of training.
Yeah.
Less than 1 year or 1 full year off with no training?
6 months.
6 months off.
6 months.
So
But I was very skinny.
what was your preparation like for that first European Championship?
It
It was
was-
just 6 months of training.
It was 3 months.
3 months.
Those 3 months, and for me it was very surprised because I lifted more than I lifted before. I had plus 10 or 15 kilos, and my result was better. And I spent for this just 3 months.
Wow.
So the break probably did you good then.
Yeah,
The time
maybe
off.
beer was good.
More time off, more beer.
Yeah, it was the same category, but the result was better. And after this, I started to understand. So I can to work. I can to compare with top rank for
Athletes.
big athletes. Yeah, and after this, we start to do preparation for World Championship and of course for Olympic Games.
So how does that work? You make the decision that this is something that you want to do. Do you then talk to your coaches? Do they set up a training cycle for the? Because at that point you're 3 years out, right? Do they set up your training program for the 3 years? Do you start thinking about the larger picture, or are you handling yourself? How does that work?
Of course, you have a goal. but it's not possible to create a program for 4 years.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not possible.
It can be a strategy.
Right.
Yeah, because you don't understand what will be tomorrow morning. Because today I have a back squat, and who knows what will be after this big squat. So it's not possible to create, and sometimes it's not possible to create a program for 2 more weeks. Of course, you understand what will be in 1 month, what will be must be in 1-2 months, what must be in 6 months. But usually it's week by week, and sometimes it's day by day. And after 2010, when I had a problem with the knee,
Right.
so I had a meniscus. So it was not surgery; it was just
So it was problem with meniscus.
Right.
and
Let's say.
I switched everything in my training program. So and it was preparation not for new result. It was preparation for how to hold or
Maintain
how
and
to
save.
result. Because I cut all squat program. So 2 years I didn't squat more than my snatch. So for example, if my snatch was 200 kilos, my best back squat was around 190, so not more.
Wow.
Because for me it was.
He was
impossible.
afraid. It was dangerous
It
because
was more dangerous.
Yeah, that
because
makes sense.
if you work with big weight, it's every time just big chance to have a problem.
So what did you do to maintain leg strength without squatting? And I mean, obviously you
so
squat and
it's-
clean, but
So it was before it was 8 training sessions per week. After this problem, I started to do 10 training sessions per week. So I add a lot of work with a small weight. So with the bar, with the 40 kilos, I add 2 more training sessions in swimming pool. So it was general
fitness,
yeah,
GPP,
general-
what
yeah.
we call it, yeah.
So, and of course, it was front squat, it was back squat, but it was very often back squat to the bench, for example, so very short movement. And of course, I spent a lot of time for technique. So I tried to use, for example, to realize my power to result. Because usually a lot of it's big problem in weightlifting when people want to have a new result, and for this first try to develop power. So
Right.
it doesn't work. Of course, it's help you, but usually if you want to have a new result, first you need to understand, or it's enough power for this result, and if it's enough, you need to develop your technique, and after you need to develop your power. But usually, and because if you will work a lot for power, it will kill your technique. Sometimes people don't know about this. If you work for your power, if you try to do a lot of squats, a lot of deadlifts, pulls, it's kill your technique and kill your speed.
I remind a lot of our guys of is that, you know, the way you treat 40 kilos is not the same way you should treat 120 kilos.
Yeah.
If you're snatching an empty bar, warming up for a heavy single, and you are jumping and acting like a crazy person, with the same level of intensity and power that you're going to try to produce when you are snatching your 90%, you're doing it wrong. You're going to take 5 to 7 attempts before you get to your 90%, and if you are trying to snatch like you're trying to get under 100 kilos with 40 kilos on the bar, you're going to be left with nothing.
We usually say that mastership is when you apply for the barbell 40 kilos, 38 kilos of power. That's
Yeah,
the
it must be
technical mastership.
one step before not good lift, so it will be almost not full, not because of course it's problem number 2. A lot of people when come for big lift for PR don't have a power or don't have energy.
Yeah.
So
Empty.
our goal is to save this power, to save this energy for big lift. That's why it's better to work until 70% and to try to spend for this less power than you need for this.
Right.
So it must be almost good.
So until 70%, it seems like you are dying.
Yeah, you guys almost when both of you are warming up, you look really slow at the light weights until you get. I mean, I saw you snatch 170 this weekend, and you know after 120 is when your hip was opening very fast and your pull under was very fast. But until then, you guys.
Yes, we call warm body, cold mind.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you need
there
to
you
be
go.
strong and
Yeah.
you need to be smart.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you said you hurt your knee. Is that when you started to power jerk? Or were you always a power jerker?
It was before. So first 4 years I did a split jerk.
When you were a child?
Yeah.
Okay.
But in Soviet school, it's very interesting. But in Soviet school, we did it both. We did a split jerk and power jerk. And
For training?
Yeah, for training.
Uh-huh.
And usually for split jerk, we use both legs.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because we spoke about this today on a seminar. So it's better for harmonical development of your body. Because first legs every time will be bigger than front leg will be every time will be bigger and stronger than
Rear
leg. So and I don't remember.
Что первые 4 года был
Yeah, first 4 years it was official on the competition. I did a split jerk, and after 2 not very good competition when I lose the bar,
bombed out.
yeah, we switched.
Just to be clear.
We switched to power jerk, and after 3 months, I add to my best result in jerk plus 30 kilos.
Oh wow.
So if before it was 190, 180 kilos jerk from the rack. So after 3 months it was 220. So it was for me it was very good for the elite. We did power jerk. And in one time, just because I can't to stop and stabilize the movement in split position, my coach proposed me to do power jerk. And we started to do this, and for me it was very good decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So Lewis was asking you a little bit about London, and I want to know more. So your preparation for London, that's when you started doing those 10 training sessions per week?
Yeah.
You said you got hurt in about 2010, right?
Since 2010 and to 2012, yes, it was 2 training sessions per week. It was and plus 2 sessions in swimming pool, so 12.
12 sessions per week,
Yeah.
leading up to London.
Yeah.
So you get selected for the Ukrainian team. You go compete in London. You win a gold medal. What was that like?
So, of course, first time it was a little bit difficult. Why? Because after when we moved back to home, it was a selection time.
In Parliament.
In Parliament.
Oh, okay.
And our sponsor, who helped with our preparation, asked us about help. So we introduced.
So they helped him with the tour. When he went to different cities, communicate the people, he brought Olympians.
the medal. Right.
So they were in tour for 2 months, like.
It was he really helped me a lot. And but after Olympic Games, of course, I must.
You had to
help.
repay.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was 3 months. It was every day. So different city,
Going
every day
schools
the
and-
same with the medal. So blah
Yeah.
blah 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 blah. So and 3 months I came to see my family. So it was the same what it was before Olympic Games. Because before Olympic Games it was national team, national center, no family, no party, no girls, nothing.
Nothing.
So the same.
Only
was,
training.
Yeah, the same was and after Olympic Games. And after selection, I had a decision to move to another city, the capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. And first 6 months, for 6 months I spent for renovation of my apartment and for understand what is new in new city. So it was something.
New life, new experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started to work in National Federation. I was and I am vice president of Ukrainian Federation.
You still are?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I did not know
And
that.
a member of European Federation.
Cool. So is that like a full-time job for you, or was it at the
So
time?
my goal and my task is to develop weightlifting in my country. So, and I think I do this.
Absolutely, yeah. You've put it on the map. I mean, as far as Americans are concerned, as far as Ukrainian weightlifting goes, you've
Yeah, because
definitely.
a lot of weightlifters in my country know about me, and of course it's the goal for a lot of another athletes.
So when you came back after London, did you decide you wanted to retire from weightlifting? Were you kind of conflicted if you wanted to continue training?
I promised.
Yes.
I promised to myself before Olympic Games that Olympic Games will be the last competition for me.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter it will be good or it will be bad, so I promised to myself it will be last. And I broke this promise in 2015 when I competed. 16. Yes, Grip Sporticato. Yeah, it was. I think it was first and last after.
Again,
until he does one of them classes.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think and I feel my body ready, and I want to do this, but it's very stupid. It's stupid because I want to be with my family. I want to do what I do now. Because if I need to compete, I need to be in training center, and nobody know what will be in 6 months. Because when you are a professional athlete, you have one or two competition in the per year, and you need to compete and you need to be ready for this competition. And you never don't have a chance, or you win or you lose.
So, but you still train.
Yeah, what's that like now?
Right.
Because you still go to the seminars and you're still snatching 170, 180.
But
And
now,
you're still jerking 260 at
There
the
you
fucking
go.
CrossFit Games. And you're saying that you don't want to compete because you want to be in top physical shape.
Show business.
sometimes, look, if
Show business.
If I want to compete, I need to develop snatch and I need to develop clean and jerk. I need to work with both exercises. Now I can't do snatch first 40 months and don't do jerk and don't do clean and jerk. After this 4 months to pay attention more for clean and jerk. So now I can't switch. Because what is the problem now? When I have a seminar this weekend, I have a seminar in Brazil. Next weekend it will be in Canada. I have 5 days between. So and it's
2 days of travel.
That's the spoke.
2 days for
Yeah.
travel and 3 days for rest.
Yeah.
So and for these 3 days is if you will do every day training session, just 3 training sessions
You won't survive.
per week. It's not possible to be ready for something crazy and big.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus with the travel.
Yeah, and I understand tomorrow or in 1 year or in 10 years, somebody will be stronger than me, faster and more motivated. So it's sport, it's okay. Now I want to pay attention a little bit more for something another, for my business, for a company or something else.
Right.
So then how do you train to fit your seminar schedule? Because you're still in good shape. You're not at your best, but you're still lifting very good numbers.
So if you want to have new result, you need to spend a lot of time.
Right.
You know
Yeah.
about this. If you want to keep result, to hold result, it's much easier. You know everything what you need to do for this. So you need to do for this 2 training session here, 2 training session here. So you understand. But for new result, I need to spend more time.
And when you have 15 years of experience
Yeah.
and good base and good health and good condition, good technique.
It's a little easier.
Yeah.
Now I need to work only on my condition. Yes. So because I have some technique, I have memory of movement. So now I need to develop and to work only with my muscle condition. That's it.
Okay. So then you don't have to put in the time. So I was talking with Sergei a little bit about this. You guys will do these seminars for a couple weeks, and you're hitting the same numbers throughout the whole
Problem.
through the whole thing. So you're trying to maintain. So like, is there special thought that goes into that? Because you're not building to anything. You're kind of just building a base and then maintaining.
Of course, if I will stop and I will have a goal to have a new result.
Well, like for the games, when you have like you're gonna do a jerk.
It was crazy preparation because I was in medicine 45 days before CrossFit Games. Yeah, and I spent this time for English school, and it was from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It was English school, so every hours. It was something crazy in my head, and after this it was 30 minutes for lunch or for breakfast or for dinner, and go to the training session to training.
Power jerk.
Yeah, for
That
power
was
jerk.
it.
Yeah, and of course, and I feel after this 45 days special preparation for jerk. Of course, I was ready for 260, and I think problem was only one, just because
the weight moves, it oscillates.
So we asked
I was
Rod
ready for
to
this.
bring all 25, all reds, but they had only 2 reds on both sides, and then
Right,
it
so
was,
they give you guys small plates.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that
so
is
the
why
plates
barbell
were-
was like
right,
this.
yeah,
So
it
when
was-
he took it from the rack, it was already playing like, and it was impossible to stabilize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for people that don't really know what we're talking about,
Yeah.
after a certain amount of weight on the barbell, it is going to bend a lot.
It's called oscillation.
It'll oscillate a lot. And if you have smaller plates, they're going to go all the way out to
Yeah.
the end of the collars. And the further out they are, the more bend you're going to get. So that's what the problem is.
Yeah, and because
Wow.
when you do step back, and you feel the same when somebody will when it's the same when you drink a lot of beer or something more stronger, and you try to stay and you can't. So it's the same, and you can't to stabilize because it's 240 kilos, but
Yeah.
your body weight is 100 kilos, and you
It's
can't
just
to
moving.
stabilize. Yeah.
Did you practice the shirt ripping before?
No. Before, when I did the preparation for this competition, for this jerk, I understand it will be, and I did my best was 180 kilos with the rubber band. So
Oh,
it
shit.
was 160 kilos and 10 kilos with a rubber band. So I did a jerk, power jerk, with this number, and of course it's shaking.
Right.
And it was just one goal to prepare for this.
So you were practicing for the instability and everything.
So when you work with a big weight, first you need after 250 kilos, goal is not to develop power. Mostly sometimes
Yeah.
you need to develop control, because it's a little bit different. That's why a lot of people must spend a lot of time when you add new result, and you need to understand how work the bar, because every plus 10 kilos give you something new, a new feedback from the bar. And sometimes on a seminar we propose it to do when move.
So when we put the plates in the end of the bar, when you do power position, it vibrates more. So with the light weights, you can have a feedback from the barbell. Seems like it's very heavy.
Right.
Yeah. So you guys will set up the barbells with the collars out wide so the weights sit
Yes.
close to the end, or you'll attach rubber bands to kind of make the bar less stable so you can practice that.
So he asked you, do you practice in the shorts?
The shirt.
No.
So people who don't know, when Aleksey hit the big jerk at the games in 2000, that was 14, right? When you ripped
Yeah.
your shirt. He hit this monster power jerk, dropped it, looked at the fucking crowd, and full Hulk Hogan style just tore his shirt off and started throwing the pieces of shirt at people. Have you done that before?
Of course.
In the end of every training.
Yeah.
What's that
In
preparation
Ukraine,
like?
I have a factory, and this factory make for me all these shows. So, and of course, I have a lot of prototype. So, and I need to do with this something. So every night, after shower with my wife, so King Kong come. No, it's just emotion, so nothing special. I don't do this before, so it's just emotion, because a lot of people think I cut a little bit,
Yeah.
and it's helpful.
Because that's what they do in pro wrestling, is they would cut the
Yeah.
shirt before. Yeah, of
Nice.
course. So the next question is a tough question, but it's something that I'm genuinely curious of, and I want to know. You know, it's no secret, after the 2012 Olympics, a bunch of stuff came out. There were a bunch of positive drug tests. You were on that list.
Thank you.
I mean, it is what it is. What
It's a big problem. Yeah.
is it a big problem?
You think not?
I mean, I'm more curious to see or to know exactly what happened and what their communication was like to you, what has happened since then, if you feel like that has hurt the sport of weightlifting. This big documentary just came out, Icarus, and there's blogs, dedicated to all this stuff, and there's rumors of doping, and what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
So it's official podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I can't to speak a lot about this, but a lot of people think it's something political.
Right.
So a lot of people think it's a new step to make a clean sport. A lot of people think it's a good step to develop another sport of weightlifting in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody know. So I think some people know what it is, but we don't know true, because it's, of course, it's a little bit stressful, strange, because mostly top of the country now out, yeah.
Right.
And of course it's not good for sport, and what I don't like, it's for example, in my country we have two girls, yeah, who had a problem with this, and after this, it was 8 years ago, and after this our country locked for this championship, for this world. And I think it's not good, because if you... So Sergei will help me with translate. То есть получается, что почему те, кто тренируется сейчас, должны расплачиваться за
So
то,
yeah,
что
the
делали в
question
прошлом.
is why current weightlifters, current national members of the Ukrainian team has to pay for the things that happens 9 years ago or
Right.
8. That's the question. So of course, and the problem of Beijing 2008 was that all people passed drug testing. So
Right.
they said we were ready, we passed. In competition, out of competition control, we did everything. And now after, so one of the girls, her name Olga Korobka, she quit exactly after Beijing. And when she knew that it happens 9 years ago, she said, come on, I live another life. I forget completely what is weightlifting. I have a family, have a kids, I got all my medals, gratification from government, and then 9 years after you came and said I was doped. But I did everything.
And they took her medals away?
Officially, yes.
Oh, wow.
And-
But I'm not sure if she
She has
just
to give 'em
gave.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is problem number one, and problem number two. What I don't like in this situation, it's after competition. Usually we had in every category we have 3, 4, sometimes 5
Drug testing.
So it's people who win. It's 1, 2nd place, 3rd place, and 2 place for
Random.
Randoms.
So what's happened?
In air quotes again.
Number 1 positive, number 2 positive, number 3 positive, and number 4 who random
Positive.
and number of, for example, 5 who don't give
Drug testing?
win.
Yeah.
So and nobody know who was or who not.
Right.
So and if it's work, it must be everyone.
Right.
Everyone
I agree
after
with that.
competition must to give
Drug
testing. Of course, first three it must be to check, and another it must be freeze, put to the freeze,
Right.
and if it will be something not good, to check another.
The B sample.
Yeah, and
Yeah, check
every time it
everyone.
will be so.
Right.
Because now win, for example, in this situation, it's possible to win not because it's good to have a very good result. It's because you
Just because you didn't pass drug testing
Right,
8
right.
years ago.
Right.
So it's very stupid.
So, do you think it is possible to have drug-free sport in weightlifting on the international stage?
It's the goal.
I know
It's
that's
the
the goal,
choice.
but
It's
is
the
that a
choice.
real? Like, do you think that's realistic?
it's a choice. Because
The choice of IWF, which is the choice of everyone. I guess.
And we can discuss that.
yeah.
Right.
Because they were told by IOC, or.
Correct. So, then we are saying it is realistic because that is what everyone has to do now.
It's the goal, like it's the realistic goal, but how realistic is it to think that everyone's gonna follow that?
I mean, look, in my
Not there,
opinion,
right?
in my opinion, in not just strength sports, but in all sport, there's some kind of performance enhancement, and I think that you know, things that people take today, tomorrow can be turned into a banned substance for whatever reason. And athletes are always going to try to get some kind of cutting edge to better their physical performance.
So there is a, I think, question about this, because there will be always challenge between fair play and the war is the war.
Right.
So it will be always a challenge in sport. And if we own the war, it's a war.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have a good car in your garage, it's Ferrari, it's the last model, it's the best of the best, you have two choices, or to use and to ride very fast or too slow.
Right.
So it's your choice. Of course, the same in weightlifting. You can use the drug. It's not a problem. It's possible to buy, to use. It's not a problem.
Right.
You need to find all information on the internet. But it's your choice. It's your problem. It will be. And nobody. So what I know from weightlifting, nobody told you. So you need to use the drug. So it's your choice, and I know a lot of people who take this choice and who had a problem. So
It's a choice that people make themselves, and then they have to deal with the consequences. It's kind of like you pay to play kind of deal.
But it's every sport though. Every sport is like that. When people are competing, they're always going to look for
Something
the
better.
smallest, slightest edge over everyone.
And first need to give more information about doping. Of course it's bad, but it's not something would give you one tablet and
You will die
You're going to
immediately.
snatch 200 kilos.
It's not going to
So-
make you a gold medalist at the Olympics.
Yeah.
No, fuck no.
You have
because
to
now a lot of medicine is in a drug
List.
list.
Yeah.
So, for example, what we use when I was young, for example, Mildronate, something like this, or when I was young, because it was official, it was possible to buy this in drugstore, and it was my school give it for all kids this, because it was the same with the vitamin, and now last 2 years it's
banned.
It's
That's like our ephedrine.
Yeah.
It was like a very common diet drug here in the 90s, and now it's on the banned substance.
Well, in all sports, I mean, I know like in cycling, like EPO is a big sport that everyone's looking at. Like, that's on the ban list. But now there's people looking into ways to naturally make your body produce more red blood cells and carry margin. Is that the same thing?
Well, I mean,
it's the same result.
It's the same thing as testosterone replacement therapies and other natural forms of.
So there's always
testosterone
people
boosting.
pushing, and then they're always going to change where the
I
line is.
I like idea with the clean sport. I like it. It's good, but it must be everyone.
Right, it has to be fair. Yeah.
So everyone, you need to check everyone, not first 3 people, first place. Everyone you need to check and to have a number B
For all of them.
I think there's a social problem too, because when Sergei and I were just talking about this outside, when you look at sport, people pay tickets to go watch baseball, and they want to watch home runs and perfect games. That's what they want to see. And when people go to watch football, they want to see bigger hits and higher scoring games. And when people watch the Olympics, they don't want to see a super heavy snatch 140 kilos.
They want to see 220.
Yeah.
Like we saw recently.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly that's what people want to see, and that's what drives sponsorship. That's what drives dollars. That's what drives gold medals.
That's why it always
We
will
have
be
that
the challenge.
expectation.
Yeah.
But then what's going to happen? We're going to have clean sport, and super heavies are going to be snatching 170.
Or you have half the sport clean, and then a couple people aren't, and it's not fair. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that's always like the tough balance. I don't know what I believe and support at this point. I like always pointing out the unbalance of issues like that, and it's a fun conversation to have. And I don't know. I personally don't know what side I stand on, but it's nice to hear someone who's like willing to talk about it honestly.
Thank you.
For sure. So with all that being said, and all the changes that they're making to, or the rumors of changes that the IWF are making,
The IOC.
It's good.
and you're going to Worlds,
Yeah.
right? What are your thoughts on like the current state of weightlifting and some of the rumors that we're hearing of the potentially new weight classes and maybe only having A sessions at the Olympics and smaller teams and all that?
So we heard about new rules after training session. Is this more interesting for me and for Sergei.
This year at Worlds, there's going to be much less countries represented because of all of these sanctions.
Yeah.
You know, there's people online and on the internet who have some negative things to say about this year's Worlds because of that. There's some people who say it doesn't matter, that's part of the sport. What are your thoughts on that? Having a Worlds that has so few or less countries represented.
We will see, of course, in a big category. So in the plus 105, I think it will be a good result because it will be 2 or 3 very strong guys. Plus just 105 category, I hope it will be the same. It will be good result. So of course it will be. We don't see big country, China, Russia, so, and a lot of another, but we will see what will be with the result.
And it will be new names of
Yeah.
new world champions, definitely.
And that's also good for the
yeah,
sport.
yeah,
in my
of course,
opinion.
it will be development.
Because it's not a good idea to develop sports just in one country.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if every time Ukraine will win, it will be not good for another country. Why? Because if you will come back to your home without medal, so it's mean for next year nobody give you money for preparation.
Yeah.
So if you have a medal, it's mean it's a good number in your country, so it's possible to develop. Yeah, and it must be. I think it's not a sport, but it's not. Это не спорт, но это хорошо для развития.
So it's good for development.
It's good for development when it's. US have 1-2 medals, Brazil have 1 medal, has 1 medal, so UK
So to
has
spread
1.
medal all over the world.
Of course,
Medals.
yes.
It's helped to develop
Sport in the world.
равномерно.
See similar development of the sport in all the countries.
You're almost casting a wider net, and you're like enticing more people to be involved in the sport.
Yeah,
It almost becomes like more attainable, or people feel like it is when their countries can participate in the same thing that the Russians or the, you know.
And I like work of International Weightlifting Federation because, for example, 2 days ago, IBF sent me a request. So now we have a.
So they started to do more media, more open social,
So for
and to
example,
promote
weightlifting
and to
phase.
promote and to promote.
You need to put in internet your weightlifting phase when you lift the big lift. So to take something.
More involvement people
Yeah.
in social.
Yeah,
Because
that's
5 years ago it was nothing.
Yeah, well, same here in the U.S. I mean, USAW has definitely made a push to be more open on social media, more just media in general, and getting the word out there. And it's good to see that coming from, I guess, from the CrossFit side of things into weightlifting.
Yeah, for them. By the way, do you know that in Tribune Herald or some very well-known newspaper, they just posted Matthew Rogers 2 days ago, and the
Yeah.
article was
It
named
was Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal, yeah, heavy metal.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did
name,
not see that.
the name of the article was heavy metal.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I mean that's the direction things. It's not even the direction things are going. That's where we're at. It's the modern era of social media and Instagram and taking pictures and selfies, et cetera, et cetera. And if these federations don't want to play along, they're going to suffer because of it. You know, growth is good. I'd like to sum it up asking your opinion on 2 things. Number 1, what is the current state in your eyes of U.S. weightlifting?
Currents.
Нынешняя ситуация в тяжелой атлетике в США.
Okay.
And your opinions on CrossFit.
Okay. So I will start to give you answer for second question.
Okay.
About CrossFit. CrossFit, it's very good. It's helped to develop weightlifting. It's helped to develop a lot of in other sports, not only weightlifting. What I don't like in the CrossFit is 45 minutes for training session. Because for 45 minutes, it's for one class, it's not possible to do gymnastic, weightlifting, and everything, and to do this very good. Because usually when people come to training, and you have 45 minutes, and for this 45 minutes you need to prepare your shoulders for gymnastic, to do snatch, to do clean and jerk. So it's not possible to develop everything for 45 minutes. And of course, a lot of people, what we saw on our seminar, a lot of people come to us after surgery.
Yeah.
So we have a surgery.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah. So if because before seminar we asked why you are here, and 95 people thought we had a problem with the shoulders, elbows, knees, and something another. So now we must to learn something new about weightlifting and to understand how it works, because we want to be healthy. So that's what I don't like in CrossFit. But of course, if we have a big army, but now CrossFit is a big army, of course we will have a lot of people who will have that problem.
It's natural.
It's natural.
Yeah, because there's more people participating.
Yeah. And of course, for example, weightlifting in our country, it's we celebrated 1 year ago. We celebrated 120 years of weightlifting in our country. How old is CrossFit?
Since 2003.
Yes.
Something like that?
Since 2000. For
Yeah.
Yes. It's 17 years old. So I mean, it's not bad. It's good. But it will be step by step, it will be better. So it will be a lot of new coach who will be more smart, who will be more talented, who will not just kill the people, who will give a good program, who will be ready, who will understand weightlifting, gymnastics, and a lot of other sports. So that's why I think now it's time, and all of us, it's and all people who now in CrossFit, it's хорошие подопытные.
It's a good person to experiment.
So, because a lot of people will die, but in 20, in 30 years in CrossFit you will understand the
Or
best
even
program approach, so it will be a good approach after this.
So I personally agree with everything that you're saying. What I would say is this is, in my opinion, one of the biggest issues in CrossFit that I see is that. But what I would couple that with is people who there's a difference between trying to be fit and trying to train. And in my eyes, and what we see in our gym and what we try to do differently, is the people who come in to be fit, we just want them to be fit, and that's all that they need to do. And in my opinion, 45 minutes, an hour, for someone who just wants to be fit is appropriate.
Okay.
Now the issue is when some of those people,
Want to do muscle ups.
when they want, some of those
whatever.
people, guess what? They don't ever need to do a muscle up. They don't ever need to walk on their hands. They don't ever need to snatch body weight. There's just not a need for someone who just wants to be fit. And fitness defined as just being normally fit, like you said, general fitness preparation. When they start to come to the other side and they think that they're ready to train and they call themselves athletes, that's when we can start seeing some of those issues. So when people don't have the connective tissue strength, they can't even press their own body weight, but they want to fling themselves over the rings.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
But every time when we start the seminar, why you are here? We are here for technique, for
Because
health.
they want to compete.
For health.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't want to lift a lot, just for health. Good to have a good technique, that's it.
Yeah.
After a seminar, when we have a time for workout and for big lift, everybody try to lift something new.
Yeah.
And every
Yeah.
time it's not good lift.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me I want to close my eyes and don't see this, because it's страшно.
Because I'm afraid to.
It's afraid to see
Yeah.
this. And people, when you ask, I don't want this to do this. I don't want to have very big result. But in a life, everyone
wants to push their boundaries.
Every man
and have
wants
that
to lift
experience.
a lot.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's on just 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, I want to win. I want to lift a lot. I want
Yeah.
to lift more than this guy. So
I
that's
mean,
why.
so it's the job of a good gym and good coaches to mitigate people's expectations
Yeah.
and to help with their,
And to stop when it's
Yeah.
time
To
to
stop them, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the big one.
So the U.S. weightlifting.
I think it's very, very, very talented first, and it's big potential for future. Why? Because we spoke with Ursula
Yes.
two years and 1 year ago in Houston, World Championships.
in Orlando also.
Yeah, and she She told me about number of participants. So it was 2 years ago. It was 8,000 people who did the weightlifting.
Membership.
And
Members.
in Orlando, it was she told us about 24,000.
Wow.
So after 2 years more, it's 3 times more than was. I think it's good statistic. It's good statistic, and it's good potential for future. And of course, now it's not very good quality and not very good results. But in the future, it will be good because a lot of different opinion, a lot of different approach, and in one country. And what I like in US is sponsorship, because if you're very good at athletes, or maybe not very good but very social media, you have a sponsorship and you have a lot of it's possible to have money for preparation, because in my country it doesn't matter, or you're good or you're bad, it's not possible to find the money. And usually you are strong but you can't move to another country for competition. It's not possible to buy food, it's not possible to buy supplements, so if you don't have money, it's not possible to train. You know about this.
Yeah.
So that's why I think US have a lot of potential for future. Yeah.
Cool. It's great to hear that coming from you guys, for sure. I think that's like the US dream right now, is to be able to develop a better representation for weightlifting on the international stage.
Definitely, you are in a good moment.
Yeah.
Catch it.
Trying. We're gonna wrap this up. Where can people find you guys online? Website, Instagram.
In Ukraine.
So Torokhtiy.com,
Yeah.
and same name Instagram. And by the way, during the Worlds, Aleksey will have an exhibition booth. It will be near the entrance. So
And that's gonna be a warm body, cold mind booth.
Yes, booth. Yes.
And everything will be for free.
So we will be glad to see all the people there.
These guys have training programs online. They travel with seminars all over the world, so you can catch them again on Instagram or check out their website. If you guys need anything from us, you can catch us on Instagram at Team Soul or at CrossFit Soul. Drop us an email at info@CrossFitSoulMiami.com. We'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you guys might have. Thank you very much.